Yo, what's up guys, it's Talon. So today I'm going to talk about how to avoid tilt in Wild Rift. Now I do want to acknowledge that tilt is inevitable. You're going to get angry, you're going to get annoyed, and that's okay. It happens to me. If you watch my streams, there's plenty of times where I get really annoyed, and it does make me play worse, and it's unfortunate, but it's the reality of a game like this. It is going to be frustrating. However, there are plenty of things that you can do that will decrease the amount you tilt and how, severe that tilt is, which will allow you to win more games and just have more fun playing Wild Rift. So the rest of the video is going to be focused around that. I'm not really going to be talking about specific gameplay stuff, more just there's going to be some gameplay on in the background as I give you guys some of these tips. So let's get right into the video. Alright guys, so the first thing that you want to do to avoid tilt is not set super specific goals for yourself. When you set goals that are really focused on a specific rank or something like that, it makes you really frustrated every time you lose because you're always thinking, well, oh, I lost. That was a waste of time because I want to get, say, challenger, and I just lost the game, so now it's going to take me even longer. When you set goals that are less specific and more focused on actually getting better at the game, this will allow you to have a better focus and feel better about any individual game. Because even if, say, you do lose the game, at least you'll feel happy about the fact that you improved your laning phase a little bit like you tried to, or you got some value out of the game. So focusing on getting whatever value you can out of the game rather than focusing on some super specific rank goal is definitely going to help you not tilt quite as much. Okay, and after that, guys, it is make sure that you get off after just 2 losses in a row. There's no reason in playing the game for hours and hours just to be tilted and end up right back where you started. It's going to be pretty frustrating, and nobody really likes losing over and over again. But everyone has days where you go on bad lose streaks and you end up losing the game and whatnot. And when that happens, when you feel like you're just not going to have a good day, you lose a couple games in a row, just take a break, maybe get back on in a half hour, an hour, or, just play tomorrow or something like that. You might think it's better to just spam games and climb, but the reality is you're just going to end up getting tilted and you're going to lose. Playing when you're actually focused and when you're in a good mood is going to be much, much more important than just spamming a ton of games in one day. Okay, so the next thing that causes a lot of people to tilt is that they overreact to loss streaks. And what I mean by overreacting to loss streaks is when they go on a loss streak, they'll get extremely frustrated about the fact that, they're in loser's queue, their teammates suck, whatever. And they'll try to change everything up that they can. They'll be like, okay, I'm normally, say, a Vayne player. I can't carry on Vayne because my team is throwing the early game. But if you've invested 500 games into Vayne, and Vayne is the champion that you really know how to play, switching it up is only going to make you lose more games in the long run because you're not going to understand as well other champions compared to Vayne. So people will, they'll switch their roles, they'll switch their champions, they'll switch the way they're playing the entire game just because of a loss streak, even if that strategy that they're utilizing overall leads them to getting a lot of wins. And so just being a bit more resilient to individual loss streaks and being able to view it more holistically as, okay, but what's happened in the long run, the last 50 games, the last 100 games? Is this strategy really not working, or was it just a bad stretch of games where maybe I did get some bad luck with my teammates? Maybe there wasn't as much as I could have done. I can just accept that a few games were kind of unwinnable, but still stick to my overall strategy and have confidence in my strategy and really trying to perfect that. When people try to switch up over and over again, it just leads to them usually playing worse because they're not as comfortable on their strategy, which then leads to more losses in the long run, which then leads to increased tilt, which is why we don't want to do that typically. Okay guys, so the next way to avoid tilt is just to focus more on yourself. And so a great way to do this is to identify 2 to 3 weaknesses in your own game and really try to work on and improve those specific weaknesses. So I would say oftentimes identifying, say, a mistake you make in lane phase, a mistake you make later on in the game, and then a mistake you possibly make in champ select or like building or other things like this that are less focused on gameplay. And finding like these 2 to 3 things and then really going into every game just thinking about these 3 things, right? I'm going to fix these things in my game, and that's the only thing that I'm really going to think about. Win, lose, or draw, it doesn't matter, as long as I'm getting better at these things and I'm thinking about these things and continuing to learn about them. The rest of your gameplay is usually going to be pretty autopilot anyway, so it's not like it's going to decrease your performance. And then you're going to have some active things to think about, which allows you to focus on things that aren't how bad your teammates are. Because trust me, guys, your teammates, they're usually very bad. Trust me, I do know this. And I get angry at my teammates just as anyone else does, quite often, in fact. However, when I do have really specific focuses like learning a new champion or learning a specific combo with a champion or learning how to manage my wave better or any of these small things or even sometimes really big things, if I'm always focusing my brain power on thinking about those, I don't have time to think about how bad my teammate is doing. Or even if I do, I'm like, okay, whatever, he did something dumb, I have this other thing I want to focus on, so that's perfectly okay that he made that really dumb mistake. And that's definitely going to help you in the long run not only get better at the game, but also not get as tilted when your teammates do suck. Okay guys, so the next way to avoid tilt is to understand that many games are unwinnable. So there's this common rule that people talk about, often called like the 40-30-30 rule, or whatever they call it. But basically what this is saying that about 30% of your games are unwinnable. About 30% of your games are always going to be won no matter how bad or good you play. And about 40% of your games are the ones that you can actually control the outcome of. And you know, the specific percentages, who knows what they really are. But I think it's a very good thing to understand. Some games you play, you're a jungle, you have a 0-4 top, a 0-9 mid laner, and your bot laner are both 0 and 5 as well. And like a game like this, you know, we're not winning that game. And people often, they message me with a game where, like this, where they're like, say, 10-0 and they still lose. And they're like, Talon, my teammates suck. I can't possibly win this game. And I'm like, yeah, I can't win that game either. I wouldn't win. It's impossible. That's okay, though. We're not trying to win 100% of our games. That'd be awesome, but we can't do that. So it's about focusing on those games that you can control and identifying when you can't control the game. So instead of being, you know, overly angry about a game, just be like, oh, that game was unwinnable. It was kind of annoying. Now let's go next, you know? And then a game where you could have won that you end up not winning, be like, okay, so maybe my teammates did play bad in that game, but if I think about it, if I did this and this, I could have actually won that game, because there's a lot more of those games than you might think as well. It doesn't always mean that you're the reason you lost, but you could have been the reason you won, but you might not have been for various other reasons. And so just focusing on this kind of rule and understanding not every game is winnable. We just want to focus on the games that we can try to impact the outcome of. And then also identifying when you do have those games where you actually get carried, where, you know, it was like, oh, I actually played really bad in this game, but my team carried me. If you actually focus on, oh, that happened, like instead of ignoring the fact when that happened, kind of identifying and acknowledging that sometimes I make mistakes and my teammates carry me as well, that can also make you kind of more aware of the fact that even you can play bad in some games. Everyone's going to have bad games, including myself. And focusing on these types of things will definitely make you able to tilt less. Okay guys, in this final tip, not many people know about, but it's actually an anti-tilt setting inside of the game that will decrease your tilt by at least 50%. It's been clinically proven by many studies. If you go into your settings here, and then you go to in-game chat, and you switch your in-game chat from team chat to party chat, and you shut the hell up and stop typing, you will win more games. And you will tilt less. Trust me guys, your teammates will not be telling you any useful information in the team chat. Do not listen to them. Doesn't matter. Turn on party chat, ignore them, ignore their pings, ignore everything. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you can control. Your teammates do not matter. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. For those that don't know, I do coaching for 15 bucks an hour. Just a link in the description to that. I hope everything was helpful to you guys. I hope you're able to avoid tilt a bit better because of that. If you want to like, subscribe, stuff like that. I have a lot of future videos planned that I think will help you guys get better at the game that are more gameplay focused. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.